more.
More.
Okay.
Wow.
Good to go?
Yeah.
Super, super. Thank you all for joining. Most of you know who I am, Scott Partington. We're welcoming members from GMG today and also the LTA buying group. So we've got our first kind of collaboration across two platforms. We have some of the internal team here today, so we understand more about the system and how it can be adopted at golf clubs and tennis clubs around the country. Shortly, Becky will do a demonstration of the Zellar platform. It's been extremely well received so far across golf clubs and tennis clubs, and also some rugby clubs that we're working with now. It's a really fantastic piece of software. We've adopted this at Golf Management Group, and it's provided great support, had an immediate impact really on our kind of sustainability journey, just providing information and a lot more structure to our sustainability strategy. Yeah, I'll hand over to Becky. There is more information on the website. You'll be pleased to know there is a discount code as well if you do decide to introduce this platform to your sustainability strategy also. So thank you for tuning in, and I will hand over to Becky.
Fab. I will start sharing my screen. Give me 2 seconds. Just make sure everyone can see it before I launch into anything. Can you all see that? I know, Philip, it looks like you're in a car on a small screen, but hopefully you can still get the full experience. But just shout if it disappears at any point. But as Scott said, so we work with organisations to help them track their carbon emissions and find ways to reduce, you know, their effects on the planet, and really be able to report on that as well and suggest actions to be able to reduce that as much as possible. And so this is the inside of the Zellar platform. You might have already had a look at our website, but this is what it looks like once you sign up and go through that process. So the sign up process, it literally takes a couple of minutes max. So it's about understanding who's going to be logging into the platform, what sort of industry you're in. So whether you're a tennis club, a golf club, a rugby club, whatever, a manufacturer. It really sort of streamlines it, so understanding what your goals are as well, what you're looking to do with the platform, and then a little bit about what you've already done as well. So just building up that picture, so that then when you come into this sustainability plan, we can actually outline, here are a few actions you can get started with. Because one of the main things, no matter which organisation we speak to, a big roadblocker for people can be taking those first steps and understanding what it looks like. So we really wanted to come up with a simple one-stop shop for all of your sustainability needs, and that was how Zellar came about. So when you come in, you've got in this section here, you've got a few getting started cards. So this is to help you familiarise yourself with the platform. You'll normally have about 2 or 3 in this section here. I'm ahead of the game and I've done some of these. This is our test platform. But you can click into those cards and they'll take you to the different section of the platform where you can then complete that action. And then by doing that, you'll start to build up your progress tracker. And then you can then also add more elements of that into your plan. So if I just open up the find and add more actions, you've got everything to do with reducing emissions and costs. If you want to be supporting climate projects, through whether that's internally through biodiversity, on your courses or at your spaces, you can add all of that into the platform. But then you can also get involved with different projects. So you can do volunteering, whether that again be held at site or something you do off site. You can really add all of that into the platform. And lastly, looking at how can you build a sustainability culture into your organisation? So really making sure it's something that will continue and keep going as sustainably as possible. So all of these actions you can sort of add onto your plan. So you can sort of have a look at that initial setup, see what Zellar suggests based on what you're looking to do and what you've already done. And then go into find and add more actions and really start making it your own. So sustainability 360, they'll be based on your business sector and what your setup is, so whether you own or rent the space, and there'll be different actions based on what you can do. So you can then look at adding these all into your plan as something you want to work on over sort of the next 12-month period, and then always come back in if there's something that you want to add at a later date, for example. And then this plan and this progress tracker really becomes something you can display to all of your members as well. So we've got this function of being able to export all of the information that you put into the platform into a sustainability climate action plan, which becomes something you can display on your website. You can share it around if you have board meetings or anything like that. It really allows everyone to keep up to date with all of the fantastic initiatives that I'm sure you're putting in place already, whether that's installing solar panels or we've calculated our emissions for 2023. It becomes something of a display window almost as well. In terms of that data adding into the nitty-gritty of it all, I know this can be something that people might think it takes a lot of time to do this. It can put people off because there's lots of different factors, etc. But as I said at the beginning, we want to break this down and make it as simple as possible and step by step. You don't have to do everything at once. It's not about that. It's a marathon, not a sprint, that famous phrase. So it's really, how can we break this down as much as possible and help you get there? So we will make this as simple as possible. So if I just go into the building emissions, for example, and I'll just delete this so I can do it again, for the year 2023 that you're currently in, we can actually help you pull that data automatically. So all you'd need to do is enter in your postcode, and then you'd be able to bring up your address, and then that will pull through all of your electricity and gas meter readings for that year or that 12-month period. So it'll help you build up a picture. And then again, I know most of you have worked with Scott and GMG, so if there's any support you need with accessing that information from previous years and being able to build up that historic data, I'm sure they can support with that. And if not, again, we're absolutely happy to help there. So it really helps to build up that picture and that year-on-year approach of how things are changing. And additionally, if you're using less electricity and gas, you're saving more money, and then obviously having that great effect on the environment as well in terms of reducing emissions as much as possible. But as long as you have that information, the platform will do all of the calculations for you. So, you don't have to spend hours going through different Excel spreadsheets. It's all about bringing it together as much as possible. And then likewise, company vehicles, anything that's owned by the organisation, you can track all of that through the platform. Again, step by step, just if you might not have that information to begin with, absolutely fine, because we can help you access that or find out who to ask for that information and build it in step by step as we go through. Same with business travel, so understanding how much are people traveling to various events, just building up that picture. And then likewise with commuting, is there any support you can offer, whether that's carpooling or there's potential grants that are offered to organizations for e-bikes or electric car schemes, so it's really building that picture. So I was just getting a call, just shut that down. Fab. And then as and when you're ready, we can start looking at the supply chain and product life cycle. So whether that's looking at I'm just trying to think of examples now, food that you might be getting into the clubhouse or facilities on site, things like that. You can track all of that through Zellar, and we'll help you build up that picture. Any questions on that section? Because I know that can be a lot of information. We can absolutely come back to questions at the end, but just thought if there's any clarification needed. Fab. Okay, great stuff. Some of you eagle-eyed people might have noticed that there are points associated with some of those actions. And that's something that ladders up into the Zellar score. So this is a sort of a tracking capability. You're able to see how you're performing against other clubs, whether they're from the same sport, a different sport, or even organisations in your local area. You can really get an understanding of what that looks like going forwards. So you can see, how is your performance across the different sections. So whether that's reducing emissions and costs, supporting climate projects, creating a sustainability culture, and then eventually that reduction in annual emissions. So the Zellar score basically becomes a bit like a credit score, so like Experian, so you can really track your progress and see how that sort of improves over time, and if you can keep that stable as well. So this is all about encouraging best practice behaviour of being able to enter that data in on a semi-regular basis. Mine doesn't look very nice, but every organization will have their own Zellar profile. So this becomes, as I mentioned before, you have the reporting side of things, but there's also a marketing element to it. So you have a sustainability profile that you can share, again, as a link on your website, or maybe at email footers. You can really tell employees and members and suppliers that you're working with to what are you doing, what are you up to, so you can share as much or as little as you like, whether that's your total emissions, or you want to share a story about an event that you might be running. So it's got lots of different elements here, and sort of having a one-stop shop for everything. And then the last couple of things I'll just touch on. So we have a community hub, if I can get my words out, for everyone on the Zellar platform. So this will allow you to interact with one another. You can ask questions. So as Scott mentioned, GMG are on the portal as well, so they'll be able to interact with you if you have any specific questions regarding, solar panel installation, energy switching. There's that element as well, and we can sort of create different subgroups under that level. So whether that's golf clubs or tennis clubs or rugby clubs, and there's lots of different areas that we can help support you with any sustainability questions you might have. And additionally, just jumping back into the adding actions to the plan side of things, we've got the green marketplace and the energy switching side. So again, with support through GMG, we can help with putting you in touch with experts in terms of what that looks like. So GMG can walk you through that process, but you can add these different green tech to your plan and say, we're interested in installing solar panels, and we can make sure we put you in touch with the right people, i.e. Scott and the team. Fab. The very last thing I will say is just about our sustainability map. So we have this section here, which will allow you to have a look at what other organisations are doing around where you're based. So when you sign up to the platform, my computer's decided to have a bit of a meltdown, but when you sign up, you can actually search. You can search for each other. You can search for GMG. You can search for Zellar. You can really have a look at what other organisations are doing on their sustainability journey and sort of help that influence your own. And again, using the community hub to reach out to them if you have any specific questions or you want to cover anything in more detail. I've just managed to zoom in on Birmingham. If any of you are based there, you can sort of have a play around with that. Fab. And all the Zellar team, we're always on hand to support you. If there's any questions, there's no such thing as a stupid question. Everyone's getting started or at different points along the journey. So there's a help section which will allow you to book onto one-to-one calls, book onto another demo if you want to involve the wider team, or you've also got a chat bot here, which isn't actually a robot. It connects you with myself or a couple of my colleagues. So we can absolutely support you with anything you might need. Fab. Any questions or anything you'd like me to go back over?
Robert from Birmingham. I'm at Edgbaston. I'm part of the, well, we're a tennis club, and so I got the information through from the LTA. So I suppose it was just probably finding out, just speaking to a couple of the tennis clubs that have registered with you, just to find out the process they've gone through.
Yeah, absolutely. I think tennis is actually a relatively new sector for us, but that's, no reason to not sort of get started with it. We've got lots of different organisations that will all have similar roadblocks, but also similar potential as well. So, a tennis club in terms of setup can be relatively similar to a golf club, because you might have similar facilities within the clubhouse, for example. But also behind that, the Zellar platform has kind of specific energy checklists and sustainability actions for you as tennis clubs to take. So, for example, I'm set to social care and work. I think I'm set as a charity. But if I was a golf club or a tennis club, I'd have, certain lights to be able to check, and, heating systems. And if you've got a kitchen, you're checking the extractor fan and things like that. So it's a very similar process. I think the lay of the land for most businesses is looking into energy, how people are traveling, and commuting habits, and then that supply chain.
Just to add, Robert, I think the golf's had quite a head start on this Zellar platform. So there was a pilot run earlier this year, I think, of about 50 clubs. So there is some data already been derived from that. So we can share that with you guys as well, because there's a lot of synergy across both sports. The other thing to mention is that the LTA as a governing body are really keen to promote this, and they've already been talking about maybe piloting this with a number of clubs just to start gathering the data. So, if you're interested, then I'll put you forward perhaps to pilot one of those, and obviously that'll be at the cost of the LTA, and we can use that information to benefit other clubs further down the line if you decide to adopt it.
Yeah, because I think we're probably one of the bigger clubs outside of London. So it's an area we want to look at, and the LTA as a governing body promoting it was quite useful for us. Yeah.
Okay. I'll make a note of that when we follow up after the webinar.
Thanks a lot, Matt.
Yeah, fab. Any other questions from around the floor?
There might be worth, I don't know if you refer to it, Becky, but the calculator is a really good tool, a really quick tool where you can just punch some information in and it'll give you an approximate saving on your current costs. That again is on the LTA Buying Group website and also on the GMG website. So it just gives you an idea of what the potential savings would be on the first year.
Just trying to, I think I have it, but I don't know whether I've linked to the calculator. Here we go. Yes, I have. Have I? No, I haven't. Oh yeah, there we go. Sorry, scrolled right past it. So yeah, this is a calculator. I can send round the links afterwards for each of the different sections. But you can really put in, your region as well, the business sector, because Robert, as we mentioned or alluded to, a lot of the sectors you have the similar sort of, roadblocks, challenges that we want to help you overcome as much as possible. And then you can go through this. Does your business pay for the energy supply? Roughly what the annual energy bill is, and then you can click calculate, and that will help to estimate the sort of savings you can be looking at.
That is also available on the LTA Buying Group website, Robert, but we can send those links around afterwards.
Yeah, I did try it and it just wasn't dropping the boxes down on mine. So
was it? No.
Yeah, I'll check it again.
Right. Okay, we'll have a look at that.
Okay. But yeah, that'd be great.
Okay.
Super, I can ping that round. We can do a follow-up after. Super. Everyone feel ready to get started and start creating a sustainability plan? Any nods?
Yeah, definitely.
Fab. Great stuff. Well, I'll Scott and I will send around an email afterwards to all of you who've attended. So thank you so much for joining. And obviously, if you have any questions, you might wake up tonight and think about something that you urgently want me to answer. You can absolutely just ping me an email, and either we can jump on another call or we can cover it via email.
Super. Thank you, Becky.
No problem
Really
at all.
informative, as usual. Thank you for the ladies and gentlemen joining us this morning. We'll send a follow-up, as I say, probably later on this afternoon, which will give you access to a little bit more information about the offers that you have via the LTA buying group and GMG, and also ensure that the calculator is up and running and live, so you can get a little bit of an idea on the return on your initial investment. Super. Nice to see you all. Have a lovely day.
Thank you very much.
Cheers. Thanks for joining us. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
See you later.
Cheers. See ya. Bye.
Bye.